I was diagnosed in 2002, but that was after a friend who'd been on a Hep C program was telling me about it and recommending to me that perhaps I should get diagnosed because of, I mucked around with drugs in the 70s and, ear piercing and toothbrushes and different things, but he just recommended that I should get a test done. So I went and got a test done, an easy test done, and it's an easy blood test to the doctors. And that was quite an outcome because when the doctor told me that it was positive, the actual doctor who told me that time, he was a bit scared. He walked away from me when he was telling me, "Oh, you're so positive."
What happened for me was I decided to have a lifestyle change, from what I was doing. And, I was working in an office and I started to get really ill. I'd go to work and I'd fall asleep, so I got lethargic. I'd start feeling really depressed. It was terrible. It was just like kind of almost out of the blue, this nauseous feeling. And so I decided to go and talk to a doctor, my GP, about it. And so I went and saw her and she organised a blood test.
I and my partner went and got checked out for STDs, HIV, that sort of thing 20 years ago, and the doctor sat me down after and said, "Well, you've got this thing, it's non-A, non-B hepatitis." It wasn't called hepatitis C then.
I found out about it when I was in rehab, and while I was in there, I was very fortunate enough to take part in a group for harm minimisation. And part of that group entailed HIV and, educating around HIV and Hep C. I was given the opportunity to... all the girls that were in the rehab were given the opportunity to discreetly go into staff and requesting that they could go and get tested.
I knew I was in a high-risk category. I was lethargic a lot. I found I couldn't cope with, the 4 kids and sports and single mother, and I was just getting more tired and tired, so I went and asked the doctor for a test.
I was diagnosed as part of a routine screening thing with my local GP because of earlier risk factors, let's say. I had the blood test done, got diagnosed, went back to the doc, and they said, "You're positive for Hep C. I know nothing about it. You should go and see a gastroenterologist." And I went home, I saw my family, I told them, didn't think about not telling them, and everyone was really supportive, which is really good, including, my partner at that time. She was great.
I know I cried and cried for days. I hid out. It still brings up emotions today because I didn't have any pre or post-test counselling. I was just told, yes, you're Hep C positive. No other information. The more information I read about, the scarier it got.
I just felt terrible. I felt ashamed, full of fear. I didn't get any counselling after I got the results, so I was kind of left with it.
Well, with pre and post-test counselling, pre-counselling, pre-test counselling, you'd be well informed of what all the outcomes can be and what the treatment options are. And post-test counselling, if you're so upset like I was, you've got a chance for someone to calm you down and sort of bring you into reality of what is going to happen next instead of wandering around in your own mixed up thoughts all the time.
It took me a while after I left, after the stuff that happened to me, to realise that I had rights, that I was a human, that I'm a patient, and I'm not alien from another planet.
I have the right to equal treatment, I guess, is the basic. I have the right not to disclose what, my status, except in certain circumstances, and which are very, very limited. You don't have to disclose your status under very many circumstances at all.
I rang the hepatitis helpline and got my information from them. And, which GP, back then we used to get the information about which specialists they had a list of specialists to see, so it was really good.
Any question I had, I got answered, yeah. And they gave me a blue book, which was great. You know, I was able to read up a lot about it, how it was procured. Because in my day, in the 70s, all there was this Hep B. There was no Hep C.
I was very, very fortunate to have a really fantastic Hep C nurse, and I was assigned to her not long after I was diagnosed through the RPA Sexual Health Clinic, and she talked me through everything. She talked me through what to expect, what she was going to be doing, what her job was around how she was going to coach me through everything, how I was going to be connected with a Hep C specialist, and also gave me other options and other services I could link up with.
One of the important things to find out when you've been diagnosed, most particularly if you're considering treatment, one of the most important things to find out is the genotype of your hepatitis C virus. Once you're tested for Hep C, once the health professionals know you have Hep C, they will know, and they should tell you what your genotype is. The reason you have to find that out is because while it doesn't affect your prognosis, while it doesn't affect how you'll live with hepatitis C to any great degree at all, as far as I know, it does affect the results of treatment and the type of treatment you'll get.